Okay, now we're going to find the difference quotient of a quadratic function, something that has a squared in it. So the formula stays the same. The difference quotient is equal to f of x plus h minus f of x over h. And this isn't a formula you have to memorize. It's on your formula sheet. The really important thing for you to focus on is how you use this formula. Okay, so for this function, we have f of x equals 3x squared plus 4x minus 3. So we want to start by writing, we're going to do the difference quotient. And the first part of it is f of x plus h. So we're going to start out by writing f of x plus h. And what that means is we're going to take our function, and anywhere there's an x, put in x plus h in parentheses. Okay, now the next part of the formula says minus f of x. So we're going to subtract, and in parentheses, our entire original function, just with x's. So 3x squared plus 4x minus 3. And a common mistake I see students do is forget those parentheses, which then means you'll forget to distribute the minus, and things will end up a mess. I also see students try to take shortcuts and not write the whole thing every line, and then mistakes happen because you forget you had an h or whatever. So every step, I know it seems like a lot of writing, but write each part. Okay. Now, if you think about order of operations, the first thing is exponents. So the first thing we need to do here is to do the x plus h squared. Okay? Now, let's kind of off to the side do what x plus h squared is. Okay? We can't just square the x and square the h. We have to write it out as x plus h times x plus h. And what are we going to do? We're going to FOIL. So that gives us first x squared, outside xh, inside xh, and last h squared. If you haven't noticed, we do a lot of foiling in algebra. So if we combine our like terms, our xh's here, we get x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. So we're going to plug this whole thing in for x plus h squared here. Okay? I'm going to get rid of that line just so it doesn't get too messy. But this means we're going to have 3, and then in parentheses we're going to put what we just found, x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Okay, and for the rest of the step I'm just going to write everything we've had before, plus 4xh, or x plus h, minus 3 minus 3x squared plus 4x minus 3 all over h. Okay, now we've got a bunch of distributing ahead. First, we're going to distribute the 3 to everything here. Then we'll distribute our 4 here. And then we'll distribute our minus to these 3 terms. If this seems really easy to you, I would recommend you pause the video, work it out for yourself, and then see if you get the same thing as me. Okay? Or you can keep watching it step by step. So we'll distribute the 3. We get 3x squared plus 6xh. That's the 3 times the 2xh. And then the 3 times the h squared, so plus 3h squared. Now I'll do this plus 4, so plus 4x. And the 4 and the h plus 4h. This minus 3 is just by itself, so minus 3. And now we distribute this minus, which you can always think about it as negative 1 if you want. So minus 1 times 3x squared minus 3x squared. A minus 1 times 4x gives us minus 4x. And a minus 1 times negative 3 gives us a positive 3. All over h. Okay, now, do you remember the hint I gave you in the last video. When you've got this point, you've got the numerator all written out, you're going to look and see which terms don't have an h anywhere in them, and those terms should cancel out. So the first one we have here is the 3x squared, and look down the line, we also have a minus 3x squared. So 3x squared minus 3x squared, that becomes 0. Those cancel out. Okay, our 6xh, that has an h in it, we'll leave it alone for now. Our 3h squared, that has an h in it, we'll leave it alone. Okay, now we get this 4x, doesn't have an h in it, that's a plus 4x. Down here we have a minus 4x. Those will cancel each other out. 4h has an h, so we'll leave it alone. Then we have a minus 3 here, and we get a plus 3 here, so those cancel each other out. So after all this canceling, we get 6xh plus 3h squared plus 4h all over h. Now, since every term has an h in it, we can factor an h out front. So we can pull an h out of every term. So we start with the 6xh. If we pull the h out, we just have 6x. Plus, then we have 3h squared. If we pull one h out, then we just have 3h. And then we've got plus 4h, which if we pull the pull the h out, we have 4. All over h. And now these front h's cancel, and we're left with the difference quotient. So, like I said, you'll kind of know you're done once you've canceled the h, and then you just write what's left, 6x plus 3h plus 4. You still might have h's in your answer, that's fine.